Today, we're going to talk about the psychological journey that every single trader goes on. It's a real odyssey, a transformation from a hopeful gambler into a disciplined capitalist. But here's the thing, it's a path almost everyone has to walk, and it's filled with traps and breakthroughs. So let's get into it. But first, let's just get the brutal reality out of the way. For every 100 people who start trading, only two, just two, will ever become consistently successful. 2%. Think about that. That's not just some random number. It's a filter. It separates the people who master the market from the ones the market, well, masters. So the real question is, what are those 2% doing differently? To figure that out, let's meet Yale. Now Yale here, he represents pretty much every single person who's ever stared at a chart and saw a chance to make it big. His story, his struggles, his failures, and, eventually, his transformation. That's the story we're going to follow. It's the story of the 98% who don't make it and the elite 2% who do. So, Yale's odyssey kicks off like most do, with a whole lot of excitement and a little bit of hope. We're going to start with the first two stages, the gambler and the learner. This is where that dream of easy money smacks right into the cold, hard logic of the market. Okay, so this is stage one, the gambler. At this point, Yale isn't really trading. He's basically playing a slot machine. He hits that buy button, his heart's pumping, and he scores a lucky win. And that dopamine rush? Oh, it's incredible. He feels like a genius, like he's cracked the code. But that overconfidence, it's a total trap. He starts taking bigger and bigger risks, throwing rules out the window. And then, bam, one bad move and he's wiped out. The market doesn't reward ego. It absolutely punishes it. That pain of losing big shoves Yale's right into stage two, the learner. He's frustrated and he figures the answer has to be more knowledge, right? So he just starts consuming everything, every strategy, every indicator, every guru's secret system. His charts become this chaotic mess of squiggly lines and signals that are all telling him different things. Sure, he's learning a lot, but he's still losing money because, knowledge without discipline is really just noise. And that leads him to the most important part of this whole journey, stage 3, the survivor. This is the great filter. Yale isn't a total beginner anymore, but being consistently profitable feels like this distant island he just can't seem to reach. This is that make or break grind where, honestly, most traders just quit. And this is where the gap between the dream and the reality just becomes this giant chasm. Yale is dreaming of quitting his job, the whole laptop lifestyle thing, but its day-to-day reality, it's just a frustrating loop of breaking even. Emotional mistakes like revenge trading after a loss completely wipe out weeks of careful gains. His account is just slowly bleeding out, and so is his confidence. And it's right here, at his lowest point, that this really powerful question starts to form. After trying every strategy under the sun, Yale has no choice but to look inward. What if the secret isn't another tool? What if the real edge, the one thing that separates him from that 2%, has been inside his own head the whole time? This realization, well, it's a total game changer. And this brings us to stage 4, the Enlightened Trader. This is the breakthrough moment. That frantic search for some kind of magic system is finally over, and in its place comes the quiet, disciplined work of just executing a process. The focus completely shifts from the money to the method. This whole new mindset is really built on 3 core pillars. First, and most importantly, protect your capital at all costs. Second, get your emotional reactions under control. A loss is just a piece of data, it's not a personal attack. And third, trust your process. The goal isn't to be right all the time, it's to execute your plan perfectly over and over again. This is where real consistency comes from. Finally, after surviving that brutal grind and finding consistency, Yale reaches the rarest stage of them all. Stage 5, the capitalist. This is the summit. This is where trading stops being a job or a hobby. Now, it's a business. At this level of mastery, the game is completely different. Yale isn't fighting the market's chaos anymore. He's detached, he's calm, and he just operates with this quiet confidence. A loss doesn't shake him, a win doesn't make him arrogant. He's finally understood the ultimate truth. The only thing he can actually control is himself. That has been the real edge all along.
I mean, the transformation is just crystal clear when you put the beginning next to the end. The gambler saw a lottery ticket. The capitalist sees a business. The gambler reacted to a loss with panic and revenge. The capitalist reacts with analysis and data. The goal changes from getting rich quick to growing capital steadily, with patience. It's a fundamental shift in identity.
So, we've walked through Yale's entire odyssey, from the desperate highs and lows of gambling to the calm, cool control of a master. So now, the question really turns back to you. As you look at this path we've laid out, where do you see yourself?
This pyramid really drives home the reality of this journey. A massive 90% of traders are stuck in those chaotic, early stages. Another 8% are slugging it out as survivors, right on that edge of breaking through or just giving up entirely. And then, way up at the top, you've got that tiny 2% who have reached enlightenment and mastery. This whole journey is a process of refinement, of filtering out anyone who can't master their inner game.
So we'll end on this thought. This entire journey proves one thing. The market is a mirror. It just reflects your discipline, your patience, and your emotional control, or, your lack of it. It doesn't care about your ego or what you hope for. It only rewards control. The path from gambler to capitalist is right there in front of you. The only question left is, where on that path are you going to choose to be?